Hello and welcome to Daily Reflection with Aneel Aranha. Today is the 9th of January 2019. We're going to reflect on Mark chapter 6, 45 to 52. Immediately Jesus made his disciples get into the boat and go on ahead to the other side, to Bethsaida, while he dismissed the crowd. After saying farewell to them, he went up on the mountain to pray. When evening came, the boat was out on the sea, and he was alone on the land. When he saw that they were straining against the oars at an adverse wind, he came towards them early in the morning, walking on the sea. He intended to pass them by, but when they saw him walking on the sea, they thought it was a ghost and cried out, for they all saw him and were terrified. But immediately he spoke to them and said, "Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid." Then he got into the boat with them, and the wind ceased. And they were utterly astounded, for they did not understand about the loaves, but their hearts were hardened. The Gospel of the Lord. This is one of the more spectacular miracles performed by Jesus, and the visuals are stunning. Let me put you in the picture. The apostles are in the middle of a lake that's about 4 miles wide. On a peaceful day, it might take as many hours to cross it, but this is not a peaceful day. There is a severe storm blowing, and they are still stuck in the middle of the sea after almost 8 hours of sailing. And in the middle of the storm, Jesus makes his appearance walking on water. The apostles, of course, were terrified, thinking he was a ghost. Jesus tried to reassure them, saying, "Take heart, it is I, do not be afraid," although I am not sure how effective his words were. If anything, they were probably even more frightened. In any case, Jesus stepped into the boat and the wind ceased. There are so many lessons that one can learn from this story, especially about how Jesus always appears in the middle of a storm to reassure us of his presence. But I want to talk about something else. Of course, why did Jesus work this miracle? He could have calmed the storm before walking on the water, yeah? It would have been much easier for him to walk. I imagine walking on water when it is calm should be hard enough. Imagine walking on water when it is rocking and rolling. So why did he do this? To let them know he was God. Jesus had just worked a great miracle, multiplying fish and loaves and feeding thousands. Now this had made the apostles realize that he had power, but they didn't know yet that he was power. And because of him, they would have power too. They were struggling against the storm, believing they were helpless against it. But he wanted them to know that they were not. He was there in the middle of the storm, walking over a churning ocean that he then calmed, showing them that he was the master over it. We too need to remember this when we face storms in our lives, that Jesus, whom we call our friend and brother, is God. And by the way, just in case you were wondering if the sentence "he intended to pass them by" meant he intended to bypass them, rephrase it to read "he intended to pass by them," that is, to pass beside them, kind of like God passed beside Moses way back in the time of the Exodus to give him a sense of reassurance that he was there by his side. I wrote a song last year about storms, sung by my friend from Australia, John Duiker, and you might get some additional insights from it. I hope you enjoy it. God bless you.
There's a storm blowing, waters are rising high. Thunder is roaring, dark clouds are lining the sky. Mightier than the thunder, louder than the roar of the sea. Greater than the stormiest ocean is the Lord my God. There's a bad moon rising, and there's trouble that's heading my way. Temptation is calling, threatening to lead me astray. Brighter the stormiest ocean is the Lord my God.